So welcome back to the channel, and it's that time of year where I need to find computer hardware, which I'm going to be going out and hunting for. Now, if you've been following the channel, one thing you'll know is that I typically tend to go towards entry-level PCs to mid-level PCs. Number one, they're more lucrative. They're easier to get parts. And number two, the higher end stuff, I tend to break even on that type of stuff, if not make a couple of dollars profit, but it's really not worth it. When most people are looking for entry-level to mid-level PCs, they're able to game at 1080p and really get some good bang for the buck. But the key to that is finding a graphics card that's not gonna break the bank. We all know that your graphics cards can make or break your build. And I've seen this with higher end builds. You go out and you spend some money on some good high-end hardware, nice CPU case and all that type of stuff, and then you look at the budget for a graphics cards to complement it, and sometimes a graphics card could cost as much as the entire build. So then people typically have to save a couple of dollars, go to lower tier, you get into bottlenecking, and it's unfortunate. And then same thing if you're going with building entry-level to mid-level gaming PCs, a graphics card still can probably cost as much as the parts you can get. So I try to find a graphics card that has a good balance that's gonna allow me to make profit, give good performance to the customers, and great bang for the buck. Now for years, I've been using the RX 580. That has been my go-to. And when I started off doing builds in the beginning of this channel, and even before the channel, my go-to was the GTX 760. And then a couple of years later, we moved on to the 970. That was my budget card to go for. And then from there, I actually had the RX 580, which I was able to get them cheap, great bang for the buck. And I've been using that for a very long time. But now the RX 580 has dated itself. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good graphics card, but for medium type builds, trying to get 1080p, 60 frames per second on newer-ish games at actually decent settings, it struggles a little bit. I've kind of moved away from the RX 580s. You can still get them for about $20 to $40, but it's time for me to retire that, and I need to find something that needs to get the job done. And the goal that I try to stay for graphics cards is typically $60 to $150, like I said, depending on if it's entry level or a mid-level PC. And I think I found a graphics card that I am going to use and start looking for moving forward, just checking on the prices and what they're going for and even the performance. And I really think that's going to be the way to go until something else is better and cheaper. So let's dive into this graphics card, open it up, take a look at it, and see how well it performs, and see if it's really the graphics cards that I will be using moving forward for mid-levels to even entry-level PCs, just depending on where we're at. Now the card, we have a Zotac, and this is the RTX 2070 non-super. And looking at the old eBay, these things are going for about $100 to $150, which is not bad, and which will really work well for mid-level builds. Definitely won't break the bank. Now it has 8 gigs of VRAM. You can do some, ray tracing with it and all that type of stuff, but I mean, I've actually seen these, and I've picked up a couple of these on the Facebook marketplace for about $100, which is not a bad deal. And a couple of years ago, I was actually getting RX 580s for that price, which made that a really good bang for the buck. Now, another card that I do use and I consider is the 1660 Super, but looking at the 1660 Super, they're going for about $60 to $100, but they don't perform as well as this. This actually performs a lot better. But if I could get these for about $100 to $150, even $120, this is a really good deal and a good card for gaming. Now, this is the Zotac. Some people hate Zotac, some people love Zotac, so let me know in the comments your opinions about it. I've had Zotac cards. I've never had an issue with one, so they've always been good to me. 3-fan design, 2 power connectors, 6-pin and an 8-pin. Real nice backplate, so pretty cool. Now, there is the Super model, which is a little bit faster. Those cost a little bit more money, but the 2070 hits the sweet spot for the budget. So let's go ahead, let's take this thing apart, which hopefully is not incredibly complicated. I do want to put fresh thermal paste on it. And we got a bunch of screws, and I'm really curious, kind of taking a look at it. Maybe we could get away with taking away these 4 screws, and I don't have to remove the back plate. Some cards you get lucky like that. Other cards, you pretty much have to remove everything. Maybe Zotac was nice on this one. Now, I had a 3090 Ti Zotac, and 4 screws and the thing popped out. It's pretty nice. Now, let's see. Oh, yep. Oh, I guess something's stuck somewhere. We're doing it. Why do I feel like something is not? Ah, we have a screw there. Man, do I have a... What in the world? Folks, how am I supposed to get to that? Jeez and bananas. Will my trusty old school Craftsman small screwdriver do it? Yes. And I think the iFixit toolkit does have extension for that. That should work, so... But this was right here. Come on, little buddy. There you go. Bingo. Let's pull out our little connectors. Nice and easy. I am actually grabbing them by the plastic and not the wires. I think that one could stay right there. This card is in perfect condition. I mean, it's not dusty or anything like that, which is real nice. There's a lot of thermal paste on this. Not terrible. A little bit dry. But holy moly, there's a lot of thermal paste on that. Let's go ahead and get this part off. Oh yeah, caked. Very nice, that cleaned up nicely. Let's get one of our Q-tips and start removing as much of this as you can. Do you have to get rid of all of it? No, not really, but get as much as you can off. Give it a little spray. Soft bristle toothbrush. Just to kind of break it up a little bit. You gotta be careful, got a whole bunch of little components over there. You don't want to knock those off. I think in the years I've been doing this, I did that once. And it was mostly because I wasn't paying attention and didn't really think. And ruined a perfectly good graphics card. Alright, looks good. A lot better. So I'm going to go ahead, pop some fresh thermal paste on it. And then we'll pop it in the rig. All put back together. Looks good. And the good thing about this thing is, it's in really good condition. So, on a side note, in case I didn't mention it, this graphics card was donated by a viewer. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you so much. And it will definitely get some good use. So a lot of people ask me, what do you do with hardware that's donated and all that type of stuff? Well, two things. Number one, I test them. Depending on the piece of hardware, I will actually record it and use it for content. Number two, spare parts in case one of my rigs go down. And number three, the other thing that we do is that we actually end up giving them away. And what I mean by that is that you build a lot of computers, you meet a lot of people, and there are some people who need computers or need upgrades. They got scammed or they're just going through difficult points in their life. And this is a good way to give back. So as far as the plan for this one, right now, it's just going to be an extra one, but who knows? Maybe somebody might need a graphics card that comes into the garage or whatnot. And maybe we could bless them just like I've been blessed. So once again, thank you to the viewer. And for those of you who are curious about it, there you go. Now for our test rig, this is an i5 12th gen. I think it's the 12600KF. And we are rocking, I think it's 32 gigs of DDR4, 1 terabyte NVMe. I think this is a crucial one. Not 100% sure, I forget. And for a while, I actually had an AMD Ryzen 7 5700. I think that's what I had on it, with an MSI mortar. And recently upgraded to this, mostly because somebody else needed my test bench, which the budget for that was good for their build. All right, all put back together. And another side note, this test bench totally stinks. Not a fan of it. I need to upgrade to something a little better one day. So let me know in the comments any recommendations that you have, because it's a pain. If you got to change out the motherboard, it's not easy because these things slide around. Well, I tightened this one up, but these little mounting points, they do slide around. It's really not structurally too sound. It was cheap on Amazon years ago for 20 bucks, and that's why I bought it. But I do need to get something a little more stout and easier to swap boards in and out if I have to. So let me know your recommendations. And for the moment of truth, did I screw up? Did I mess up the graphics card? Let's find out. Yes, bingo. So let's go ahead, install the drivers, run a stress test, and start gaming. So back up and running, all drivers are installed, all updates and all that type of good stuff. Windows does have a new one for the 25H, V1, VTech, MS, whatever. But there's a new update, and I'm not gonna mess with that one just yet, because the last time I messed with an update like that, it wound up biting me in the butt. So we're just gonna ignore it. So Furmark, been running it for about, how long have I been running it? 6 minutes, not terrible. GPU temp 67 degrees Celsius. The hot spot is 92, 93. So I might have an issue with my application on it. Might have to take this card apart later on and either try a different thermal paste. I used the cheapest one that I could find lying around. I figured that might work. Not a good idea. But anyways, that is a little warmer than I definitely like to see. So other than that, the car's running fine. It's stable, hasn't crashed. So let's go ahead, let's move on to some games. So for our first game, Cyberpunk, I'm going to be using everything at 1080p. We're going to go with DLSS, super resolution, performance mode. Want to get more frames per second on it. No ray tracing on, and let's go ahead and run the benchmarks. So right off the bat, we're off to a good start, over 100 frames per second. Obviously the scene is not as intense, so we will get some drops, but the game is looking good and it's running smooth so far. And we're at 1080p, so now if we were to bump it up to 1440p, obviously it would look a little better, but we will lose some of our frames. But for 100 bucks for a graphics card, or $150, depending how much you pay for it, we're off to a good start. So let's finish this benchmark and let's see what our averages are. So our average is 135 frames per second. Pretty good. So let's move on to the next one. So for the next game, Horizon Forbidden West. Great game, I love it. I even got to play the bonus for it and enjoyed that. Highly recommend this game. So we're at 1080p, we're using DLSS in performance mode, and we're using the original quality sets. And obviously you can see our FPS over 100 frames per second. Obviously be a little lower on more intense scenes, but game looks great, it's running fantastic. So let's get through this benchmark and let's see where we're at. So our average is 150 frames per second, which is not bad. Maximum 250, minimum 79. Better than I thought. So once again, RTX 2070, amazing. And for the last game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, probably one of my favorite games, if not my most favorite games. 1080p, highest settings, we're averaging about anywhere between 100 to 130 frames per second. We'll see what the final results are, but the game looks fantastic. It's running smooth, and it's a really good playable experience. And that's one thing I enjoy about this hardware, is that even though it's not the newest, there's still a lot of great games that are older that you can max out the settings and really still have a good gaming experience. So let's let this finish up and let's see what our final results are. So our averages are 140 frames per second, which is fantastic. And like I said in the game earlier, obviously if we could get a 1440p monitor, we could get an even better looking experience, get a little lower frames per second, but we still have good room for decent frames per second and for the game to look good. So this card is pretty good. Let's go ahead, give you my final thoughts and wrap this up. So the RTX 2070, not a bad card years later. I believe it was released back in 2018, maybe 17. I'm pretty sure it was 2018. And considering that it's a 7-8-year-old card, we're able to play pretty much all the latest and greatest games, 1080p, high settings, averaging 100 plus frames per second is not bad. And if we were to push it to 1440p, yes, we take a little tank on our frames per second, but you're still gonna have a good gaming experience. And for the price point that we're at with it in 2025, Facebook Marketplace averages about 100 to 120. eBay is about 120 to 150. That's not bad. I could probably negotiate them on the Facebook Marketplace for about 100 to 120 dollars, which makes it a really good bang for the buck. And if I didn't want to gamble with that, eBay probably about 130 would be the lowest I could go, because remember, sometimes you got to pay shipping and the taxes on that part. So it puts you about 150, 160. But considering if you're looking for a card for around that price range, this is definitely the way to go. And moving forward, this is going to be the card that I'm going to be looking out for. So in a nutshell, RTX 2070, fantastic card. If you're out there and you're looking for a budget card or trying to put a budget system together, or even looking for a graphics card for flips of PCs that you're trying to get out there, definitely keep your eyes out for this one. Yes, there are other cards that might be better bang for the buck on the AMD side, and now everything's 30, 40, 50 series, but considering this works really well. And then even prior to this, I mean, the 1070 was one of my go-tos for a while, and even the 1080 Ti for a little market where it was there, but we still have driver support with it. It holds up really well. It's got a little more life left in it. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. What other graphics card do you think has good bang for the buck? And for those of you who do sell computers, do you even mess with the high-end stuff, or do you find that the lower-end stuff is more profitable? At least in my area it is. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. As always, we'll see what we come up with next.